The Comp670 is one of Overloud's newest plugins as well as the newest member to the GEMS family. Now I don't even need to tell you what this is modeled after because you can clearly see what it is. Alright, so we got a few features to go over about the Comp670. Let's get into it. The Comp670 has all the original features and knobs of the actual hardware unit as well as some additional ones that Overloud has added. But let's take a look at the original ones first. So we have your input, and this is able to be linked and unlinked, so you can do the left and right side separately. Next to that, we have the threshold, and this is also able to be linked and unlinked as well. All right, so next to the threshold, we have your time constant, and the 670 has a fixed attack and release, so this is going to adjust the attack and release times. All right, so next to that, we have the knobs to control the metering. You can either do gain reduction, input, or output. So one of the unique features about the Comp670 is the studio feature. And with the studio feature, you get 3 different studio options. Now, each one of these studios is where a different 670 was sampled. So each one of the studio options have their own tone and characteristics different from one another. All right, so let me tell you a little bit more about the studio options. First up, we have the London studio. This one is going to be the most transparent of the 3. Next up, we have Los Angeles. I found this one to have a warmer, thicker tone, and it's also really good on drums and bass. Last, we have the Milan studio. Now, this one is probably the most unique of the 3 because it was sampled from a unit that was repaired with non-original 670 parts. So I found it to be a little brighter than the other 2, but it also gives you a nice air and sheen on whatever you use it on, and it has more harmonics than the other 2. Now I have a vocal example lined up for you, and I feel like the best way for me to show you how these sound is to compare them to one another because it's very subtle but still noticeable. So I'm going to flip through each one of the studio options and let you hear how those sound.
A bit of lipstick that you like. We can be more than friends. Baby, you can't deny it, that you like it. Cuando me ves bailar, se te eriza la piel. Pero no es real lo que tú sientes. Bailame que baila toda la noche. Enséñame ese ritmo que yo quiero bailar. Bailame que baila toda la noche, noche, yeah. Bailame que baila toda la noche. Enséñame ese ritmo que yo quiero bailar. Bailame que baila toda la noche, noche, yeah.
Now when we start getting down to the bottom, this is where the new features come in that Overloud has added. And one of the new features that they added is the DC threshold. Now, originally on the actual hardware unit, this was a tiny screw that was on the back of the unit and you had to turn it with a screwdriver. So Overloud has placed it in a convenient spot right on the front, made it bigger and give you easier access to it. And what this does is it's going to control the actual curve of the compressor, giving you a soft knee or a hard knee. Alright, so another new feature that they added is the sidechain filter, and this opens the compressor up to be used in even more ways, more flexible. And you can use this if you have a mix with a lot of low end. You can use it on the mix bus, drum bus, bass, whatever. All right. And then one more additional feature that they added is parallel knob. And this is really great because you can use this in parallel and do some blending. All right, so I got a drum example lined up for you, and we're going to use this in parallel and compress some drums. Let's get into it. Alright, so for this last example, I'm going to be using the Comp670 on the mix bus, and I'm going to be using it in lat vert mode. And what this does is allow you to compress the side information and the middle information separate from each other. So the lat is going to be the side information and the vert is going to be the middle. And this is going to give you an overall perceived space and width. Alright, so I already have it dialed in. Let's hear what that sounds like.
Be the lipstick that you like. We can be more than friends. Baby, you can't deny that you like it. Cuando me ves bailar, se te eriza la piel, pero no es real lo que tú sientes. Bailame que baila toda la noche, enséñame ese ritmo que yo quiero bailar. Bailame que baila toda la noche, noche.